And we have our good friend Rebecca Harold here with us. She is the privacy professor, and we summoned her services based on what has been going on in the country. People are going nuts over an app, Jackie.
That's right. Everyone's talking about Pokemon Go, but they're not always talking about what's happening with all of your information that you have to give up if you want to participate in this event or this game that's just going worldwide soon, right now in the country, but soon to be worldwide. So what is happening with our information?
Yeah, first of all, can you explain what this is? So some people might not understand. There might be some people out there saying, what is this Pokemon Go thing, and why are people going nuts over it?
Well, it is kind of like a virtual reality as you walk along in any area that you're at. It has...
I believe we have a video that we can show you here, so we can, as you talk, continue to explain. Okay, here it is. Just keep explaining.
So with this app, you can actually make it look like, and if you're familiar with Pokemon, it's been around for a long time. My kids had the cards and everything. Well, now they've made it so it's virtual reality, so you can go out and walk in your neighborhood, in cities, and you can find certain types of landmarks, and you're looking for your Pokemon when you're going through there, and you're looking to capture different types of things that you use to play, to compete against others in what's called gyms. They have different lures that is given to the people who are playing this game to kind of get you to come to a certain location. So you come to this certain locations, the gyms, and that's where you can compete with other players, and you have your different Pokemon characters that you use to play with each other, and they have different capabilities and strengths and so on. And so you have a lot of people, when you're looking at your smartphone walking along, it'll actually superimpose the Pokemon into the image to show what they would look like if they were right there with you. Walking along with you. So that's what you have to look at as you're walking along. And this is kind of showing what the Pokemon looks like there. But as you're walking along, you'll see somebody holding their smartphone kind of up in front of them instead of the typical down looking at it. Well, they're probably doing something like playing with Pokemon Go so they can see where they're at in their area. Maybe they're looking to see if there's a Pokemon character that has been put in that area virtually.
Do you have any idea how they get placed in different areas, the characters?
Well, the Pokemon creators gave the capability to allow people to actually put these different characters at landmarks, and then they also allow the players to do lures so that they can kind of entice people to come to these different locations and then play against them, so then they can win prizes and so on. In fact, it's really crazy. You can buy different tools for the app to use with the app in order to make sure that you can beat your other opponents that are in the game. In fact, right now they're making like $1.6 million a day in revenue.
Oh yeah,
with the
I mean, there has to be money involved. That's just the world we live in. I still don't understand what Pokemon is, but I love the idea of where technology is, where we can play a game where it's using our surroundings, but yet we can still see virtual reality items in it. So the idea of it sounds like a blast. I get it. I get it why kids are involved and parents are doing this with their kids, but there's another aspect that we need to make sure people know about.
Definitely. I mean, when you look at this app and what it's doing, it really is the trifecta of risks, because you have physical risk, you have cybersecurity risk, and you have privacy risk. So when we're talking about the physical risk, I'll just touch upon that briefly because there's been a lot of talk about that already. I mean, you might have heard about the teen girl who actually was using her Pokemon Go just a few days ago, and she was looking at it going in the direction that she saw on her screen for her environment, and she didn't realize that she walked out in front of traffic and she got hit by a vehicle.
Which is what we speculated would happen.
Yeah.
You have to be smart when
you have to be smart.
Doing this. Know your surroundings.
And not only for the physical, but there's also been people using the lures to get people to come to locations, and like they've stolen their smartphones once they've gotten there. And also with that location finder, make sure for your kids, if they're using them, make sure that you realize that those locations can be used. So that's a safety thing. Make sure you're aware of that. Huge issue on its own. for the cybersecurity and privacy issue, when Pokemon Go first came out, and it's only been out, what, a week now or so. When it first came out, the iPhone or the iOS version of it actually, they said accidentally asked for all access to your Gmail account.
Right.
Now, in the headlines, you saw, oh, it's taking all of your data from your Gmail. And in fact, it wasn't taking it, but it was giving everyone access to it on your Gmail, the folks at Pokemon, not everyone. But
Right.
So if those app folks were able to get to it, however, they did issue an update for that. So that's something, if you were one of the very first ones that downloaded Pokemon Go
through Google.
Yeah, if through Apple, the Apple Store, since it's for the
through
iOS.
The Apple Store. Okay, I always thought it was through Google that people were getting.
You could get it through Google Play
Okay.
and also through the Apple Store. You might, yeah, I think you could get the Apple version through the Google Play Store
Well,
too.
that's where I had friends that got in trouble.
Oh, okay.
Because they, instead of doing it through the App Store, they went through Google Play, and that's when all hell broke loose because they were basically opening up their emails and saying, here.
Well, and then if you're logging in, and they probably logged in using their Gmail account, so that's another type of personal information item. They're taking your Gmail email address, so they know that. They know your Facebook. If you're logging in with Facebook, they have that. If they have the Pokemon trainer community or the PTC email, maybe you don't want to go through Facebook or your Google, so you'll go through and create an email specifically for that.
Right.
It will also store that email address in addition to, if you're using that email, it's also going to store and use your birth date. So they're getting your birth date there.
So just things they can be collecting that might be used.
Your IP address, which is associated with your device. So the IP address can give a lot of information to hackers and others to know where you're at, the type of device you're on, the type of browser you're using. It also logs the sites that you were at before you started using Pokemon Go and then after. So it would be able to tell, maybe you were banking, it's going to log that information. So all of that's logged. When you're messaging with other Pokemon Go players, it logs those messages too. So it's collecting a lot of data and of course your location. Now if you did go out early and get that early version for the iOS or the iPhone, make sure you log out of Pokemon Go and then go download their update.
The new one.
The new one does not ask for access to all your Gmail accounts.
Now,
so,
do you have to delete the other one before you do this, or not?
no, just log out.
Just log out.
And when you download the update, it replaces it and it will change it. Now, to be safe, you can go out to your Gmail account and check your settings there to make sure that you're not giving too much information, to them. Now, we're talking about the iPhone, so a lot of folks say, oh, the Androids, they're, no risk there. Well, there's cyber criminals, and they're like, oh, where's an opportunity to get information? They figured it out. What they did was, there's a long, what they call queues or lines to get access and download Pokemon Go. So the cyber criminals said, we're going to take a copy of Pokemon Go and we are going to inject what is called a malicious remote access tool, or RAT, or malicious RAT, into Pokemon Go. And basically, this is called Droid Jack. So if you decided that you just couldn't wait to download Pokemon Go from the Google Apple Store or from Google Play and you went to a third party, get rid of that because that's probably got malicious code in there. With this malicious RAT code, the Droid Jack, it gets access to everything on your Android.
Is it too late? If you just delete it, does that get rid of it, or is it already in your system?
Well, you need to make sure you remove it completely. So that's something that I'm going to cover that and some other things in my August privacy tips issue. So I'll give more details there because it takes some
time. How do we get a hold of these issues? Because we didn't even get to, we just touched the surface of what we wanted to talk about here today, because this is so intriguing and people are so wrapped up in this. But if people want to get these tips, how can they get these tips?
Yes, well, I'm going to cover this and give 7 tips and then some other points in my August Privacy Professor Tips message. So go out to my website and there's a sign sign-up box for signing up for my monthly tips, and I'll cover it there. I'll point to this segment too, because that way they can see what we talked about here in addition to get others. So go to this site. If you can't find my box, because I need to put a few more boxes in there to make it easier, but send me an email. So my email is on this site as well. So this is at privacyprofessor.org, and you can also go to privacyguidance.com and see the box there. But sign up for that. I have 7 tips to do that we didn't even get into, but one's like even using a dedicated phone that you don't use for calling or texting, just getting a phone
Pokemon?
just to
So
do
there
any
is a way to
apps.
play it safe.
Safer.
Safer, if
Safer.
you so
Okay.
desire,
Yeah.
and you can learn more about that. Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank
And
you.
follow along on Twitter, because this is where we first learned about some of these privacy issues on with this Pokemon Go was via your Twitter account. So what is your Twitter account?
Privacy Prof.
There it
There you
is.
go.
Wonderful. Great job as always.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.